You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
What's up, boxing fans? What's going on? You're now listening to Ring Kings Boxing. That's right, Ring Kings Boxing World is live in effect. And of course, we talking boxing, man. In this episode, a major upset. Some calling it the biggest upset since Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson. That is a huge upset. And on today's boxing show, as usual, we got our boxing contributor and boxing aficionado, Eddie Too Mean Johnson. What's going on, Too Mean?
Yeah, what's good?
Everything, man. And you had an opportunity, man, to follow this fight, listen to this fight, man. And man, I'm not totally blown away by it, but I got to give credit where credit's due, man. Andy Ruiz, congratulations to the first Mexican heavyweight champion ever, man. And that's huge, man. And so many levels with Andy Ruiz, man, because this is a guy eating Snickers like George Foreman did. You know, he was coming in, you know, how George Foreman used to do it when he came back from that long hiatus to get back in the heavyweight fighting. And he used to, he changed his persona from being a big angry man to being the grandpa of boxing. And all of a sudden you start seeing George Foreman walking around with hamburgers in his hand, eating hamburgers and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of, Andy Ruiz, I guess you could say he kind of lulled Anthony Joshua to sleep with this whole persona. Of course, people making fun of him because of how he looks. Now, Andy Ruiz is not your typical looking fighter. You know, he's a big guy. You know, he's not totally like, in shape like Anthony Joshua, like a lot of people look at and say, well, you have to look like that to be successful. I applaud Andy Ruiz because he did it his way. You know, and that's to the chagrin of Anthony Joshua and his team, who just was a big freaking mess, all the way from rumors of panic attacks, pre-fight, weird actions like Andy Ruiz's belts to take literal photos with before in the pre-fight press conferences. It's very strange motions and movements, period, you know, and a short notice fight after Jarrell Miller got kicked out for doping. And then, of course, they should have known to be very mindful of taking a fighter on short notice, having to adjust strategies. And, man, I tell you, then on top of that, Eddie, the fact of the matter that you had Deontay Wilder's fight, which took place before the Joshua fight, putting pressure on Joshua to perform like he performed against Dominic Breazeale. That was another thing that people were looking forward to. And it's a question about whether Anthony Joshua could deal with the pressure. Could he deal with the pressure of living up to that billing? Eddie, obviously not. Now, you know, I got the CompuBox stats, and before I give you an opportunity to reply, I want to lay out the format by saying thank y'all for listening to Ring Kings Boxing World. Of course, this is a total boxing show dedicated straight to the art of fighting, whooping ass in a ring, whatever you want to call it. This is explicit. So we like to welcome y'all guys, and do me a favor before we go any further. Hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button and the notification bell for more content on Ring Kings Boxing as we continue to grow. New subscribers are constantly coming in. So today's show, we're going to get into the Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua big upset. We got a few interviews we're going to play as well from George Foreman. The post-fight from both Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. And we also just going to give you our personal views on what happened, what went wrong, and what should have happened, or in this fight. Now, let's get right on to it. Too Mean, man, you've seen this fight several times, man. It didn't make sense to me why Anthony Joshua gave Andy Ruiz so much respect in the ring. I mean, I know styles make fights, but he had all the tools to put Ruiz away in 3 rounds. Had he had stuck behind his jab, he has an 8-inch or a 9-inch reach advantage on Ruiz. Only thing he had to do was the Lennox Lewis philosophy was basically keep him on the outside and set him up with that stiff jab and that punch. 1-2, 1-2. All night long, and eventually Ruiz will get desperate enough to come in. Then you like we talked about, you lift his ass up with some uppercuts. So I mean, he allowed Ruiz to dictate the pace of the fight. He did do a good thing by dropping Ruiz, but Ruiz showing a lot of heart and courage getting up off the mat. Now bear in mind, that's Ruiz's first time that he ever was floored in all of his fights. So he got right up and then put Joshua down in the ground. So, and not only that time, but twice in that round, and then 2 more later on in the fight that led to the stoppage in the 7th round. So that's my little spiel, Eddie. Talk to me, man. What what's your thoughts of this crazy affair of a fight that we had with Ruiz and Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, I think Anthony Joshua need to bring out that beast, man, in the ring. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know you know what I'm saying, trying to be a good role model and all that, but you know what I'm saying? That's one thing, but inside that ring, you do not play. And you take that shit serious like you trying to kill somebody up in there. Otherwise, you're going to get yourself hurt. Like you see, man, he let him, soon he came in the ring, he started backing the champ up. I was like, what kind of shit is this? I was like, the champ, you ain't supposed to back the champ up. Champ supposed to, you know what I'm saying, be the champ. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, soon he came in the ring, he just started backing him up and start dominating the fight. I was like, come on, man. I said, you gotta be mean in there, man. You can't be no nice guy inside that ring. You gotta be fucking mean. I'm talking about get down and dirty. You know what I'm saying? Afterwards, you know what I'm saying, you show respect, but when that bell rings, it's like, nah, all that shit is out the door. The nice guy shit is out the door, man. Go in there and you let them know who gonna be the boss and who is the boss. You know what I'm saying? You gotta establish that from the beginning. Like, look, I'm gonna make you respect me. You ain't gonna just be walking in on me like that. What's fucking wrong with you? Yo, you gotta, so like that bell ring, man, you gotta let that motherfucker have it. You gotta let him have it. Like, look, you gonna respect me, you ain't gonna just be walking in like that.
Well, that's the thing that, a lot of that we want to talk about, man, because a lot of people calling Anthony Joshua's performance against Andy Ruiz lethargic and unconcerned. These are different terms that's being thrown around in media circles about his performance in this matchup, and I find it really telling because the fights that I've seen, Anthony Joshua was nothing but the model of consistency, in my opinion. So, I mean, only one thing I could see that really changed to kind of get him out of his comfort zone, and that's coming across the pond, as they call it, to America and fighting in Madison Square Garden. You're talking about pressure. You're fighting in the biggest, the best, and most well-known arena on the face of the planet, in the center, the greatest and the largest media center in the world, and you're fighting New York, in front of everybody, and that's a lot of pressure. Do you think possibly that was one of the reasons of many that Anthony Joshua didn't live up to the billing? I mean, of course, we knew about the rumors they call, and a lot of people saying it's not so much as rumors, being that he had a pre-fight panic attacks leading into before the fight started, and and his father telling Eddie Hearn to postpone the fight because his son, he didn't see his son as ready to go against Ruiz. I mean, a lot of really weird circumstances around this. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it'd be pressure, but you know what I'm saying, and all that. But once the first punch is thrown, man, all that shit would be out the door, man. I mean, all fighters get a little nervous and a little panicky and shit, like, you know what I'm saying, prior to the fight. Like when you're in the dressing room and all that, all kind of shit go through your head, man. Like, oh man, will this nigga knock me out or what? You think all kind of shit like that. And there'd be a little nervousness inside, but like I say, when that bell ring and that first punch, so all that shit is out the door, man.
To me, Eddie, we seen Joshua is massive, 6'6", 250 pounds. Andy Ruiz, 6'2", 270 pounds. You know, he was a smaller heavyweight, shorter arms. It's relatively, for a big guy as skilled as Anthony Joshua is, should have been relatively easy to keep him away from him the whole night and just 1-2 to just set him up with the one, drew a couple of uppercuts and crosses in there when the time presented itself. But he could have played it safe like he did against Joseph Parker. I mean, the way he showed Joseph Parker respect, kept Parker away and boxed really comfortably and fought a smart boxing match, didn't take too many chances, was the method he should have employed against Andy Ruiz. I just don't understand why he paid Andy Ruiz so much respect. Now, this is not no disrespect to Andy Ruiz. I think he's a great, Andy Ruiz is a cool dude. Andy Ruiz is the kind of guy you listen
He
to.
got a lot of experience too, man.
Yeah, he 100 something plus 105 something amateur fights.
Yeah, and I was watching some footage of him and Evander Holyfield sparring too.
I seen that too. Yeah, I seen that too.
He had some good work, so you know what I'm saying? He got the skill. So he got them fast hands. I think he underestimated that a little bit. He wasn't expecting the speed for a guy to look like he looked.
Not only the speed, but Andy Ruiz is incredibly accurate with his punches too. If you notice, Andy Joshua was trying to perform a defense, put his arms up the block to try to at least have his arms to shield some of those blows. And Andy Ruiz, with dead-eye precision, was punching through around and inside of his arms to still tag Anthony Joshua. He was not safe. Andy Ruiz was underneath and was dead-eye accurately sniping Anthony Joshua. I mean, if you look at the fight, you can see that Andy Ruiz was really accurate with his punches. He wasn't just wild throwing. He was really damaging, letting some really sharp shots to Anthony Joshua to daze him and knock him around in that fight. And I just find it really, ironic that, and that's why people love boxing so much, man, because boxing is like life. You can have a guy that looked like Anthony Joshua, won a gold medal, have all this stuff going for him, and basically been riding a perfume cloud across over in the sky past a lot of fighters that have been fighting in the muck and the dirt and the grind. Andy Ruiz is one of those guys. A muck and dirt grind fight that had to fight for everything that he's got. Had to work his way up through the rankings, extensive amateur ranking at fighting, eventually turning pro, everybody counting against him. He still fought. Only one loss that's to Joseph Parker, which actually, if you go back and look at the fight, Ruiz actually beat Parker. I think they made a huge error in awarding that fight to Joseph Parker. Ruiz was the winner of that fight, in my opinion. But anyway, even getting this opportunity because Jarrell Miller foolishly was caught and failed multiple steroid tests. He jumped in there, didn't care about the money, didn't care what the contract was saying. Obviously, this was his shot. And Andy Ruiz was doing what we always say, Eddie, that we lambaste other garbage, crap-tastic, foolish fighters for not doing, which is he said, listen, you make the fight. You tell me where you want me to fight. I'll be there. I'll beat you. You name the price. I'll beat you, take your belts away from you, and then I will name my price. That's what Andy Ruiz did. And I got to give a lot of respect to Andy Ruiz for doing it that way. And then of course you see a guy like Ruiz who's not, too pleasant to look at, as far as his physique is concerned. But it is what it is. And then you got Joshua, who's built like an Adonis, and then you got this little short guy knocking this big Adonis out, and that's a lot of people that become like Joe Everyman. I don't have to look like and train all this time to look like Anthony Joshua to be a heavyweight champion. I think that's a tremendous a message from Andy Ruiz. If we learn anything from Andy Ruiz, we don't know how long his reign will last. Who knows how to go? He might go on to fight Deontay Wilder. That would be spectacular. Who knows? I don't know. But I just think that at the end of the day, Andy Ruiz, enjoy it, man. Congratulations to you. First heavyweight Mexican champion ever. What do you think about that, Eddie?
Oh, yeah, that's great, man. Like I say, he fought his whole life to get to that point. And he finally, you know what I'm saying, accomplished his goal, man, to be heavyweight champ. You know what I'm saying? Congratulate him. You know what I'm saying? I noticed too, like during the fight, during the press conference prior to the fight, he looked real relaxed, man. You know what I'm saying? Even when in the ring, when he was introduced to the fighter, he still nice and relaxed, and you didn't see no fear in him whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? So and he got a lot of experience, man. Like he was sparring with Holyfield, so he got a lot of good work. You know what I'm saying? And got that Mexican blood in him. Tough motherfuckers, boy.
33-1 with 22 knockouts. Is Andy Ruiz, and of course he's the new WBA, WBO, IBF, and IBO heavyweight champion, Mr. Andy Ruiz. And of course Anthony Joshua falls to 22-1 with 21 knockouts. And of course they triggered the rematch clause Hearns and AJ did for the fight, which Hearns basically said it would be between either October or November of this year. So later on in this year, about 5 or 6 months from now, we'll get another opportunity in Ruiz and Joshua too. And something tell me it's going to be a huge draw. A lot of people are going to be watching something just like what happened with, of course, when Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. He didn't get an opportunity to rematch him because shortly thereafter he ended up getting in financial troubles, and I think he went to prison after that, if I'm not mistaken. He never got an opportunity to rematch Buster Douglas for that belt, and that was a shame. But in this particular time, this could be graded as probably, I don't know if it's bigger than the Buster Douglas Mike Tyson fight, because Buster was on a high that night fighting for his mother who had passed away, and he just wasn't going to lose that night. He dedicated that fight to his mother. He was not going to lose. You could have hit him with a steel bat 20 times. He would have kept getting up. You wouldn't have beaten him that night. It was just the wrong night to challenge that man to fight. And Andy Ruiz proved that. But I would say Ruiz's fight, this is excellent for Andy Ruiz. I don't know how long it's going to last, because like I said, when we talked about this fight in prior podcasts, when Joshua's mind is right, Andy Ruiz is short work for him. I mean, he got maybe somebody else he's not, but Andy Joshua has all the tools to dispatch Andy Ruiz. The thing was, mentally, he wasn't there. And you could tell. Deontay Wilder came out and lambasted, basically just went off on Anthony Joshua. I don't know if you heard about the comments, Eddie, but Deontay Wilder chimed in and basically called him a fake champion, that he was basically giving everything he's got. I mean, Deontay Wilder just laid into him, And I would just think, and I'm saying to myself, Deontay Wilder, you know what? Pump your fucking brakes, man, because you about to get your issue too in the next couple of fights. You're fighting Tyson Fury again, who beat you the first time, and you basically they just gave it a tie there, basically a boxing tie is basically where you kept your belt. But Tyson Fury won that fight basically until that 12th round, when you were able to score 2 quick knockouts. So, but had Tyson Fury been fighting to not outbox you, but outbox you and then knock your ass out late in the fight, you wouldn't have shit to say. And watch out for Luis Ortiz too. So these two fighters, you almost lost. In my opinion, you lost to Tyson Fury, and you almost got beat by Luis Ortiz if he wouldn't have ran out of juice. So, I mean, I don't know what he's thinking, like you can be this guy, like your belt is protected. You're going to get your issue in the next 2 months, in the next 2 fights too. So don't get it twisted. Your time is coming too. Because I'm not saying to throw cast stones on you, but if you're going to talk about Anthony Joshua, AJ like that, in terms of, he's a fake, he's a fraud and all this kind of foolishness, that ain't cool, man. Because everybody knows Deontay Wilder is not a technical fighter, and he has a massive amount of flaws. I would say he has more flaws in his game than AJ do. What you think about that, Eddie?
I think he was wrong for saying that, because he didn't get everything handed to him. He earned everything that he got, and Anthony Joshua did. So you got to give respect to the brother. You know what I'm saying? He had a gold medal. They don't just give them. You don't just get them like that. And nobody just gonna give you the heavyweight champion either. Heavyweight championship. So you got to earn that. So you gotta respect the man. I'm saying it's like kicking him while he's down and shit. But hey, man, what goes around comes around, man. Like shit, he still got people he got to deal with. So we see what happens. Anything can happen in the heavyweight division.
That's right. Andy Ruiz proved that point, man, is that quite simply it was excellent. Now, before we continue our boxing analogy, this show pretty much dedicated to Ruiz and Joshua, our takes on it. We're going to play an interview by George Foreman when asked about his take on the Anthony Joshua fight. Here's what Big George had to say about it.
Joshua now, if he goes back, get his mind together, he's going to even be better. But right now, he better learn how to box, and he better get a good manager. I'll do it.
Well, if Anthony Joshua said, George, you've been through everything, you know everything there is to know about boxing and heavyweight boxing, would you help him out?
That's certain. And he needs someone like me. He's doing these crazy exercises. I talked to a friend the other day with his neck on the canvas, with all of the weight on his neck going around. You know, I told a friend, I said, he's going to get knocked out really quick because that's some of the things that Sonny Liston did back in the day. And Muhammad clipped him right quick, and it happens all the time. You're not supposed to put weight on your neck because boxing gloves are enough. Guys start hitting you on the chin. There's a lot of things he can clean up, but he's going to be a better champion if he wants to stay in the business. He got a lot of money, though.
Yeah. So, right, that's the talk now. Does this ruin Anthony Joshua, or does
No, it makes him better. Now crowds go out and say, oh, this is not a setup. He's going to really get a fight on his hands.
There's a rematch clause in the contract, and Joshua and his people have made it clear they intend to exercise that almost immediately. How do you see the rematch going? Is this something Anthony will?
If I'm Anthony Joshua's manager, I say, let sleeping dogs lie. I don't want to fight that guy anymore because you don't know what you did wrong. You go back and you're going to do the same thing. Let it slide. He's young. Get together in the gym. Let his mind clear up. When you get knocked out, it almost takes a year before you can get yourself back together. It's like you've broken your leg, but it was really the jaw that got broke. And you need to recuperate. Go back, start all over again. He can get the champion again. Make him fight him in England where the weather suits his body, and he'll get the title again. Don't leave Ruiz alone. Let him alone.
There was always...
That's George Foreman, man, yelling out, let sleeping dogs lie. Don't fight that guy again because you don't know what you did the last time to lose the fight. George Foreman, a lot of wisdom from George, dropping it right there. Looking at some of the punch stats from this fight, Eddie, Joshua, 47 total punches, 47 body punches landed out of 176. That's a 27% connection. Ruiz was 56 out of 206 with a 27.2% total jabs, which means body to landed, 24 punches out of 104 with 23%, then it's 17 out of 87 for Ruiz for 19%, and power punches, 23 of 72 for Joshua for almost 32%, 39 out of 119 from Ortiz for 33%. Like I said, he stops Joshua, knocked him down 4 times, and the fight was stopped due to a TKO. And then, of course, Ruiz is named the new multi-belt unified champion, WBA, WBO, IBF, and IBO. Now, by the way, I want to add this, is that Al Heyman is that Andy Ruiz is an Al Heyman fighter, so is Deontay Wilder. So Al Heyman controls basically the heavyweight division. All of his fighters are holding all of the belts in the heavyweight division. So thumbs down to Q Eddy Hearn in Matchbox, Bob Arum, Frank Warren. All you guys can look in, even Don King. All you guys can look in jealousy at the mighty Al Heyman as his fighters dominate the heavyweight division. Eddie, what do you think about George Foreman? Also, Brian Jennings was mentioning saying don't rematch him. Just, don't go into a rematch with him. Big George, you heard what he said. He would say, let sleeping dogs lie. Don't go back into him. He said he was using them. He seen a crazy workout where Joshua was laying on the ground and doing neck exercises. and he said that he knew that he would get knocked out. He said, because you're not meant to put weight on your neck like that. He said the boxing gloves are enough. He said Sonny Liston used to train the same way, and Muhammad Ali clipped him. So what do you think about some of this talk about avoiding a rematch? Even Andre Ward, I don't know if you heard what Andre Ward was on ESPN's First Take. He had some really harsh critiques of Anthony Joshua, not bad critiques, but he was saying about changing up his style and not focusing on so much as looking like an Instagram model, that's his word, as opposed to condition yourself as a fighter. A lot of people said that Tyson Fury astutely made that observation too, when he said that he's not a fighter, he's a pumped up weightlifter. Remember that? That's what Tyson Fury called him. What's your thoughts on rematching against Andy Ruiz so soon and his boxing technique? Does it really have to change, or he just has to do what the fuck he was supposed to do at all? I mean, you talk to me about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Andre Ward he said he was trying to move up to fighting because he's seen the flaws in him.
Right.
And George Foreman, he's from the old school. He was trained by a lot of those throwback trainers, man. And they teach you don't mess with the weights because they really slow you up.
Right.
And they make you more stiff, you're not as loose when you lift a lot of weights like that. And as far as the neck exercises, those are good, man, because they help thicken your neck, strengthen your neck, so when you get hit, that neck absorbs the punch too. You know what I'm saying? It makes you take a punch a lot better. So I disagree with George Foreman on that one. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I think he should take some time to regroup, take an easy fight. You know what I'm saying? To get back his confidence to win back on the winning streak, and then take the fight again. You know what I'm saying? Definitely change up. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody come in there and just start dominating you from round one. You're like, look, you gotta earn your respect in there. You gotta make them respect you. Sometimes you can't. You gotta make people respect you, man. Like if you're gonna come in, you're gonna make sure you punish him. That he coming in, so he'll think twice of just coming in like that. You know what I'm saying? Right. You gotta throw some shit that's gonna really put some sting on him, like make him think like, oh, I can't come in like that. I gotta at least move my fucking head or something. But he just came rushing right in and shit. You know what I'm saying? Without getting punished for it. So that's another thing. And you know what I'm saying? You gotta know how to triple up, double up, and triple up on that jab. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Be able to hook off that jab and come with that right. What he did one time pretty good. And he floored him. But then he's like, okay, I'm about to finish him off, and he opened himself up. And you know what I'm saying, he was able to throw some punches in there and catch him. You know what I'm saying, while he was throwing. When he was with them short arms, he came in, you know what I'm saying, he was in there with them short arms. His timing was pretty good as far as that. Because he was real relaxed when he got up. He said, okay, I'm down. Let me get up. I could see in his eyes he wasn't really hurt. It was like a flash knockdown.
Right.
And he opened up. That's when he took the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? His timing was perfect. He hit it, put it with a left hook. And then in the right hand, and another left hook. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't even the same after that. You know what I'm saying? That really put a sting on him. Like I said, he need to lay off the weights, man, and focus more on his boxing and stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, definitely, you got to be able to throw them triple, double jabs and stuff. So that'll help you, you know what I'm saying? That'll help him be able to land the right hand a lot better, too, in the left hook.
Right. I think that's for excellent commentary, because a lot of people are not giving him any chance to go to beat Andy Ruiz. And it's like they forgetting who the man was before the fight. I mean, this guy dominated opponents prior to the fight. I mean, he fought some pretty good fighters. You're talking about Klitschko. You're talking about Dylan White, who was a pretty damn good fighter, and is a pretty damn good fighter now. Alexander Povetkin. I mean, he's a damn good fighter. I mean, he's fought, you know, some very, very solid fighters. Joseph Parker, Carlos Takam. I mean, very respectable fighters. You know, and he has more of a powerful fighter resume than Deontay Wilder has. I mean, seriously. I mean, he's beaten some really good competition. He just overpowered them. He was actually really boxing. So it's like, even though we celebrate Andy Ruiz's huge upset, let's not take nothing away from the fact that the man had an all fucking night. Come on, man. I mean, under any other circumstance, if this fight was fought in England, he would have destroyed Andy Ruiz. I think that has a part to do with it too. His first fight outside of his comfort zone, a major fight. Major should have been in a smaller venue, not Madison Square Garden, under the scorching lights, media lights of New York, the biggest media capital in the country. I mean, in some say consider in one of the top 3 in the world. So let's not forget who the man is. This is a gold medalist fighter who's been fighting for a while, who has great talent. Both of those guys are good fighters. It's just Joshua had a different path than most. Just because he didn't beat the guy, you don't run away from the freaking guy. George Foreman, now I agree with what Foreman said about a lot of interesting stuff, and so is Brian Jennings, who's a good heavyweight as well. But if it was Brian Jennings standing up there and he got his ass whooped, and if that was George Foreman standing up there and he got his ass whooped, George Foreman would be trying to go back at whoever whooped his ass and try to get a rematch so he can whoop their ass. So that's not something you could tell a fighter who's a competitor who got that killer instinct to walk away from it. Now, Eddie, let me add this to the caveat before I play some of the post-fight reaction from Joshua. There's a question about his ferocity, his killer instinct. The fact that after the fight was over with, he was so positive and almost seemed like he was in a relaxed state of mind after the fight, which is pretty odd for a guy that just lost 4 of his belts. Talk to me about Joshua's killer instinct. What do you think about that?
He didn't know how to switch it on and switch that beast mode on. You know what I'm saying? It's good that after the fight, it's so positive and stuff like that, but I mean, that shows you after the loss, character. But at the same time, you gotta be a beast in that bell ring. Like, kill that motherfucker. Point out the referee, because I'm gonna kill that other motherfucker. That's the mentality you gotta have. And then afterwards, like you say, you're like, okay, you know what I'm saying, I gotta switch it off now. You know what I'm saying? Be that positive role model. But still, man, you gotta know how to switch it on, turn it off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the hurt business, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what you was getting into. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows what they getting into when they step in that ring. So you got to be serious, man. When that bell rings, you got to kill that motherfucker or try your best to.
Yeah, they were saying that he was a little bit too friendly with Andy Ruiz, because Andy Ruiz is a good guy, man. You know, after the fight, he thanked his mama and told him that, Mom, our world, you know, our life is going to change. We don't have to struggle anymore. You know, this is a professional fighter telling his mama that they don't have to struggle for. So Andy Ruiz is a really good story. I really do appreciate Andy Ruiz sharing his story with us and having this great fight, because it shows underdogs that, you know, underdogs can win if we stick to it, if we have stick-to-itiveness. And that's what Andy Ruiz represents to me. You know, he's the improbable champion that we all are at times when we have to surmount some of the biggest obstacles, and you don't, and people don't think you can do it, and you ultimately end up doing it anyway. So that's a testament of such a great story that Andy Ruiz is. But anyway, let's listen to the fight reaction from Joshua's team after this matchup here.
We'll go straight into questions, guys.
AJ, first of all, how are you feeling?
I feel alright.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm a soldier. You know, through thick and thin, good and bad. We always look forward, never back. And always wondering what's next on the cards. And that's it. That's my mindset in general in life.
How do you view how the fight went?
Good fight. Heavyweight boxing. It's an upset, isn't it? It's not expected. The bookie said I was the favourite. One shot on the top of the dome, you know, kind of rattled me a bit. And then tried to stay in there a few more rounds. But the better man won. Respect to Andy. And I'll move forward now and seeing what's next with the boss man. And then look out for the end of the year. Who's next and what's next.
Was he underestimated?
Never. I don't underestimate anyone. He's a decent puncher, decent fighter. It's his chance, isn't it? And I always say, like, anyone who comes to box me boxes 50-20% better than what we've seen. It's funny because as a fighter, as I said, I don't overlook anyone. But it's easy to overlook someone because of their shape or their record or whatnot. But these guys are coming to win, and he's a better man tonight. He's done his job.
Was it distracting that people kept mentioning any other fighter apart from Ruiz this week to you?
Was it distracting?
Was it distracting to you that everyone was mentioning the
you
Wilders,
learn
the
from that
Furies?
situation. So what I learned from that situation is rather than try and block it out, naturally you're going to speak about Wilders, Furies, naturally you're going to speak about Dylan. So if people want to ask me about that, I'm all ears to it and I'll give you the answer. It's rude of me to say I'm not answering that question, so I'll give you the answer. And that's how it is. So rather than trying to block out the fact that there's other competition out there, I keep my eye on the prize and say Ruiz is who I'm fighting, but these are the guys that I still want to compete with. Do you know what I mean? Don't stop. That's what I say. I asked Eddie, what's next?
That's Anthony Joshua, man. His thoughts on after the fight. And, like I said, man, on any given night, like I still believe this. I'm not taking anything from Andy Ruiz. It was his night. Just like it was Buster Douglas' night in Japan when Mike Tyson fought, or any other fighter that wasn't supposed to win against a fighter that had the overwhelming force to win the fight. All the tools. Anthony Joshua had the height, the reach, everything. He had it all. He just had to do what he usually would do. Like if he'd have performed like he performed against Povetkin, that would have been enough to basically, he would have knocked Andy Ruiz out in the first 3 rounds. Like Eddie make mention of the fact that he was allowed to dictate the pace in the round. What was very odd to me that AJ was being chased around the ring. Being as Ruiz was the center of the ring, imposing, encroaching on him. Anthony Joshua did not make him pay. If he had made him pay and stuck with the jab, worked behind the jab like Lennox Lewis did against Mike Tyson when he fought Tyson in the late 90s, it would have been a different effect. Notice you go back there and watch that fight. Tyson did get up under and clipped him, Lennox Lewis, and that changes perspective as Lennox calmed down, synced in, and just started working him from afar, using it, and that's what made Lennox Lewis. And I think if you're a guy like Anthony Joshua, you can learn a lot from studying Lennox Lewis and how he fought, because he was a taller fighter, fighting guys that wasn't as tall as him. Now he was able to fight some of those guys that had height, but smaller fighters. Watch how he used his long reach to set fighters up and then lowered the boom on them. Sooner or later they would basically fall apart from that long range bombing. And Joshua didn't do that. He fought the fight that was perfect for the style that Ruiz represented, it, which he needed to get underneath and inside. That was his only chance of winning the fight, and that's what Anthony Joshua gave him. Eddie, thoughts pertaining to what I just said?
Oh, yeah, I definitely agree with that. You know what I'm saying? If Anthony Joshua ever hear this video, I'll tell him, look, study them guys, the tall guys that had to use that jab. You know what I'm saying? Look at the footage of them fighting, to turn the volume down. Just, just look. They sink into his subconscious mind, man. You'll be surprised how it'll come out when you fighting. You practice in the gym and you're looking at the footage of them with the volume down. You know what I'm saying? That shit will just come out in the ring when you actually boxing or fighting somebody. It'll start coming out in the ring. So that's from my own personal experience. But yeah, he need to study those old guys like Larry Holmes, Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll say Riddick Bowe had to make adjustments when he was fighting Burt Cooper. First round, he let Cooper just come in without using the jab, and then it's training the old legendary trainer Eddie Flutch told, look, keep him at the end of your jab. You know what I'm saying? The fight became real easy, man.
That's right.
And he eventually knocked Burt Cooper out. You know what I'm saying? And even Roy Jones, he'll tell you too, late. You got reach. He said, he'll send a person up out the gym. They got a long reach and they trying to fight on the inside. He's like, man, go ahead, go home, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that in my gym.
Right.
You use your physical attributes. You got the height and the reach around. You use that. You know what I'm saying? You do not go in the ring and not use that, man.
Well, look, Eddie. I'm gonna give you hold your thought, my friend. I'm gonna play some post fight press conference from Andy Ruiz. His thought after defeating Joshua.
It's a blessing, man. This wouldn't have happened, man, but thanks to Eddie Hearns, my team, Al Heyman, everybody, my dad. I'm still pinching myself to see if this is real, man. Wow, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Guys, go to the floor. Yes.
Andy, first of all, congratulations. You absolutely shook up the boxing world. I got a chance to speak to your mom a few minutes ago. They told me they didn't get a chance to speak to you. What do you want to say right now that's in the same room with your family, to your family?
Mom, I love you. I love you, and our lives is going to change. We don't have to struggle no more. Thanks to God, everything happened for a reason, baby.
Yes, sir. From Boxing Action Magazine. I have a question for you, but first I have to say to Mr. Eddie Hearn, I don't know who makes your bouts, but the matchmaker's unbelievable. I mean, this is the best night of 2019 boxing you can possibly have. Every match was a grudge match, and we got to give Mr. Eddie Hearn and Matchroom a round of applause for tonight.
Well, I swear that wasn't genuinely over the moon for Andy Ruiz. I think you could see that in the ring, you know. He's been there, he knew what it was like to win these, and I promise you he'll be back stronger. He'll be absolutely devastated when this kicks in. So it's bittersweet for us. It was just an incredible night of boxing at the Garden. I'm sure everyone will remember it forever, but unfortunately the result didn't go the way we wanted.
Andy, hold on.
Guys. I'll go to everyone, okay? Yes. Yes, there is. Yeah. Listen, I think Andy will fancy the rematch. You know, it's not a fight that he's just stopped Anthony Joshua, so it's not a situation where he's going, oh, I don't believe I can win the rematch. And you know, if he wins that rematch, it really puts himself in position as, in my opinion, the golden goose of the division. So he's in a great position now. Anthony, of course, has got to accept that rematch. Knowing him, I'm almost certain that he will want to do that. He gave Andy the opportunity, and, you know, as part of the agreement. And like I said, I believe Manny and Andy will believe they can do it again. So, you know, it's going to be a thrilling fight.
That's some thoughts by, of course, Andy Ruiz, and then you heard Eddie Hearns slipped in there with his thoughts as well. Eddie, as the rematch. So the rematch has been triggered. It's official. And they're going to do this thing, they're saying anywhere between November and December of this year, as Anthony Joshua is saying that he's going to get his belts back. Of course, Andy Ruiz saying these belts are not going anywhere. They're staying with me. And of course, the interesting thing is if Andy Ruiz wins the rematch, which is possible, he wants Deontay Wilder. So imagine that. He wants to try to unify all the belts, and it could happen because those are both PBC fighters. It'll be easier to make the unification fight with those guys in the same boxing company. You know what I mean? As premier boxing champions. But anyway, talk to me about that. We got a few minutes left. Give me final thoughts on the night, Eddie.
Oh yeah, like, you know what I'm saying, Anthony Joshua. I go back to the drawing board, and I'm saying Ruiz. Yeah, he do it once, he do it twice. Now let's stick with the beans and rice.
Well, that's gonna do it for boxing, for Ring Kings Boxing, man. We'd like to thank y'all for joining us, man. And it's gonna be interesting, man. It's just boxing, man. This year has been fantastic, man. Deontay Wilder doing his thing. A lot of the middles and welters are shaping up. We got Triple G and all that stuff coming. Of course, Canelo and Errol Spence is possible mention. Jermell Charlo and Tony Harrison fight is off for about 6 to 8 months. Injury that happened to Harrison, so Charlo's gonna match up with somebody in the short term. So a lot of stuff going on in the boxing world. Canelo Alvarez, like I said, Spence is a possibility. Other things are going on. But thank y'all for listening to the Ring Kings Boxing. Smash the notification button, hit the subscribe button, and join us, me and Eddie Too Mean, as we talk boxing here on Ring Kings Boxing. So from us and the staff here, thank you for joining us. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.
Are you a boxing fan? Check out Ring Kings Boxing only on the PRO Media Network.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free edutainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Media Network. And support the true independent artists.